Hey guys, Coach Dave here. Um, what I wanted to do is just talk about a way to get more result in less time with our max efforts. So one of the big mistakes I see people do is that they just jump up in a linear manner on the barbells and the weights on the bars. And so what that does is it ends up getting them to their max typically a lot faster, and then we're kind of skipping out the fact of like what we need to do, which is warm up the nervous system. And I've got a couple charts here, but basically, the top one, the top blue line is like your ideal kind of like warming up, and then the red line you'll see is this straight linear line, typically hitting the max a lot earlier. And typically, what happens with that is that that jump between 90 and 100% ends up being too much, and then that's where we end up missing an effort early and then having to deload, and basically because we've shot the nervous system jumping up so fast, we won't recover that in this workout. The same thing happens on the women's weights, but you'll actually see them following what would seem like a logical pattern, and then from there they're lifting way too much, maxing it way too fast, and even faster than the guys on like that fifth set, and then crapping out and having to kind of ride it out or just kind of call it quits there. So what I've done is I've compared the two lines, and so what you'll see under the 100 kilo estimated max one, we've got is 40%, 60%, 20% increase there. And then from there, 10%, 10%, 70, 80, 5%, 80 to 85, 85 to 90, 4%, 90 to 94, 3%, 2%, and then we can make that like 1, 2, 3% like jump to kind of go beyond where we want to. But you'll know where and how that's going to feel at that point. Then we've got the same thing on the women's side. So you'll see 20, 30, 35, 40, 42 and a half, 45, 47, 48 and a half, 49 and a half, 51, jumping up, following those exact same percentages on the left hand side. And you'll see it's just a much more gradual way to get there. And then when you look at it on the chart, you're thinking about like the amount of total work we've done. And so the heavier work is more valuable than the lighter work. And so that's what we want to kind of look at with this. And so basically we're looking at this and we're seeing like, if we followed this plan, a 2% growth. And a 2% growth is not like a huge amount based off, what your max effort is. But we also know that when we jump up to those max efforts fast, we often miss more attempts with that. And so if you convert missing attempts and not progressing to a 2% growth, and it happens every week, 2% on 2% on 2%, is that exponential growth. Now, strength doesn't quite work like that, but if we strategize and plan out, the weights lifted, then we're more apt to get the progress when our body's ready to, grow and adapt. So we're not going to stagnate with our strength. We're also going to avoid the failed efforts. As you warm up a little bit slower and approach that weight a little bit slower, when you get to that, 94%, 90% range, you're going to be a little bit more aware that, yeah, maybe it's not going to happen today. And so you might hold back a little bit. And so mentally, again, that's a lot easier to hold back. And the physical effort of failing versus having a good lift that's still just really heavy is definitely better for you with that. So yeah, the purpose, like I said, is just warming up the nervous system, avoiding the failed efforts, avoiding stagnation, and just focusing on that like 1-2% growth consistently, day in, day out. As we do this, we do 2 max efforts a week, and so that's what we should be looking at as we're making those. So knowing your numbers does help, and that is a reason why someone gains 10, 20 kilos, and another person stays the same, is that approach repeated over time starts paying those dividends. So anyways, we'll hopefully this helps for you guys. See you in the gym, and hopefully we'll be doing the math and getting the gains. Talk to you soon. Bye.